Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the KAMP Fireside Chat podcast. And this podcast is just basically a way for us to kind of interact with the community and just have like more intimate conversations with everybody. In today's podcast, we're going to be talking about our lives uh, outside of being, students, student leaders, etc. We're going to be talking about our hobbies and also things that help us kind of balance our work life and just talking about and emphasizing the importance of self-care. Uh, we hope you all enjoy the podcast, and I will see you all in the chat. It's camp time!
Welcome back to our podcast. We have myself, Ethan Domingo.
I'm Shane Vidal.
And I'm Mariah Peralta.
And so today we're going to be talking about how our lives outside of just being maybe coordinators and students. So the first question that we have is what does everyone do outside of being coordinators? Like, what kind of hobbies do y'all do? I feel like we work together so much. We work with each other so much that like we're not really going to talk about like what our interests are outside of this.
Oh my gosh, I feel like this episode, my inner nerdy side is bound to come out, and I'm really scared. Exposing,
Oh my God.
putting everything out. But does anyone want to go first?
I can go first. Okay, so like I've been thinking about this because like when people ask like, oh, like what do you do out of academics, like blah blah blah, and I think about it, I'm like, I just do work like a lot of the time because like I'm so busy and stuff like that. But I guess like hobbies, I had to ask my roommate about it because I was like, I don't know if I know myself that well. But for me, I do a lot of cooking. I like always try to like cook something each day that's not like instant ramen or something because I tend to like revert to that. And so like I get a lot of my inspo from like Asian ladies on Facebook. So I like go through Facebook for like 30 minutes and like I bookmark like recipes and like short videos of like food to cook. So I guess like cooking's become a hobby now, and like I do have a food Instagram, so I guess it just kind of goes like hand in hand. Please follow my food Instagram at Mariah is hungry.
Oh my God.
Plug in.
So like I think that's like a main part of me, and like ironically like a lot of my interests line up with like food. Like I like watching baking shows, cooking shows, like a lot of cooking YouTube stuff like Bon Appetit, Test Kitchen, Binging with Babish, Tasty sometimes, like the Worth It series from BuzzFeed. I like watch a lot of food things. But like other than that, I like K-pop. I listen to K-pop. I collect a couple of K-pop albums.
Yes.
I'm just gonna expose my interest now. I mean, I guess everyone knows at this point, but I try to just like make time for myself, and like watch videos or do stuff like that. And I know out of the three of us, I'm not the only one who likes K-pop. So the next one who likes K-pop can speak for themselves.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, I think Shane and I equally like K-pop.
I mean, I just got into
Your
it.
Discord profile picture is literally
oh my
JC
god!
Blackpink.
Oh my gosh, Jamin, if you're listening, you know.
Stop it.
Oh my gosh. I also just recently got into K-pop this year. No, actually not this year, not 2021, 2020. And so yeah, I also listen to a lot of K-pop. I just recently bought my first physical album by
Yay.
specific girl group, Blackpink. And so yeah, I do listen to K-pop. I also watch a lot of anime.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
It's something I really enjoy watching on my free time. Let's see, some of my favorite anime: Haikyuu, Code Geass.
Period.
Yes.
Attack on Titan right now is getting really
Snap!
intense.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
Levi Ackerman, my boy. Oh my gosh. And so yeah, but I guess one other hobby that I don't really get to talk about too is also marathon running. So I guess back in high school I used to be very like active, and it's like I used to do a lot of athletic things, and one of those things was like running marathons. And so um now it was a fun thing to do, just like being active, being athletic, moving around. I like moving around a lot. That's another part of my hobbies. So yeah.
Yes, anime.
That's all you have to say.
Well, I mean, I also watch anime. I'm not an avid watcher, but I will say that it
Getting
is
into
definitely like
it.
it's up there. It's up there. Some things that I also like to do outside of just like working, um, is I don't know. I like to play chess every now and then. It helps me get out of like my overthinking kind of mindset because I overthink a lot, and it just helps me really um, get that out there. So like if anyone out there plays chess, hit me up. I don't really get to play that much with like people other than
He
a
said
computer.
Queen's Gambit.
Funny, I haven't watched that yet, but I'm gonna watch it.
Oh my
This
gosh.
should be a problem. But for some other things that I like to do is, I also, read in my spare time. Usually like typically like self-help books. I feel like those have helped me really they've helped me really kind of gain a better grasp of just self-care. And also I also like to go out for walks. I think, they're really important for me personally because it gives me that kind of fresh air from just, being inside and, going on Zoom and just constantly just reading on my laptop. So yeah, but yeah, that's pretty much all of my hobbies.
I think like for me, it was a little bit difficult to think about like hobbies, interests, and stuff that I do outside of it because we're just so busy with like school and then camp. But I'm happy that we took time to like think about it and be like, oh yeah, like this is what I like. Like we're more than just we're more than just students and like student leaders. Like we have things that we like, but sometimes it's like hard to be able to like engage in these things or like do things that we want to do rather than do things that we have to like our homework and stuff
Yeah.
and like camp like prep.
Um,
But yeah.
no, I totally agree. Like I feel like hobbies are a source of self-care for everyone really. It's probably the time really where everyone can do something that they enjoy in a mindless state, if that makes sense. Because when we're in Zoom lectures and doing homework, I feel that sort of takes a mental toll on ourselves because we have to force ourselves to like really go through these things. And I doubt anyone really likes sitting through an hour and a half Zoom lecture on whatever topics. And so, having a hobby aside with it, like watching, I don't know, watching anime or watching some K-pop videos. That's I don't know. I feel like it's the best type of self-care, really. Just finding something that you enjoy that you can just mindlessly do.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like of just having something just to do other than just like work because it's like it has to do with like that struggle of finding like a work-life balance, right? Where, you know, how do you find time to, work, right? And how do you have time to um to spend on yourself? And a lot of that sometimes people have difficulty with finding activities that they like to do. And I think, the first step is to really kind of be open to a lot of the activities that are out there. Like for me personally, I wasn't really big on like writing, but then I started journaling, right? I think I just learned about this one thing called like a one line a day journal. And it's just it's so low commitment. You just have to like write one line about your day and that's it. And I like that has also helped me kind of really like slow down and really kind of just not think. And it has definitely helped me take care of myself. And so I think, what's important is just to really, maybe keep an open mind about the things. And if it doesn't work out, it's not the end of the world. Um, Continue trying new things. And then once you find that thing, just keep doing it. Like, don't stop. It's a very like you're like we live like our lives as students are just very busy, right? Because as Ethan said, we have so many like lectures to go through, assignments that are due, that we kind of lose time to really have for ourselves, and it's really like, and that's really much needed time to help us take care of ourselves. So.
Yeah, I definitely agree, especially like what you were saying, Shane, like just finding something that works for you that's like you can do without like thinking too much. I like never thought of myself as like a person who likes doing art or like crafts or something. Like it's never been something that I wanted to do. But I like recently got into like tearing up some extra K-pop albums I have and like creating like art pieces out of that. Like not art pieces, but just like collages or like things that I think are aesthetically pleasing. But I just like recently got into that, but it's really helped and become like I guess like a new hobby is doing that on top of like it's nice because I get to make time for myself to do that. And so like I try to get this work done, or if I don't get it all done, well, okay, that's fine. Like I told myself I give myself 30 minutes to do this type of work or to do stuff that's like mindless. Like I have to do it. And I guess like making sure that what's the right word? Like you give yourself that time, like giving yourself the time to do things that you are interested in and like your hobbies, I think is like a really great way to make sure you're not like overworking yourself and like having burnout, and like burnout's a very real thing, not just as us as like student leaders, but just like as students in general. Like it gets too much, and especially with things being on Zoom now, it feels like people and like classes are making things like a little bit more difficult, or like double booking you for meetings or something like that. I guess like just do the things you want to do, and hopefully that can help you avoid like burnout.
One of the things I really admire about hobbies is that it's a you thing, and it's something you can do without really anyone like judging you, because again, it's for your self personal care, it's for your like it's how you sort of it's your way of taking care of yourself. And I don't know, going back to like the beginning of this podcast, we were like going into this, we were like, oh, what do we do? Like what do we do as hobbies? And now that I think of it, like really anything can be a hobby. Like anything that you consider like anything that you consider self-care for yourself, that you personally enjoy and that you want to do outside of the responsibilities of things that you don't want to do, that I think that would be considered a hobby.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that, Ethan. I feel like I think this is just like a general, like, I don't know, what is it called? What are those things called? The PSA? Like don't be ashamed of your hobbies. Like really, like, if it doesn't even have to be like something as like what's like typical, I guess, like, journaling or meditating. If your hobby is to like take a nap, right? Or if your hobby is, oh, I don't know, I guess collecting rocks, like don't be ashamed of that. Like that's something that's for you, and that you're doing that for yourself. And as long as you're doing it for yourself to kind of help take care of yourself, continue doing it, right? And do it with like pride, do it with just confidence, because that's a part of like something that you like to do. And so just to continue doing it, like it doesn't, I just kind of wanted to bring that up because I think that's important, because a lot of us are just like, I'm not going to do that kind of hobby because it doesn't seem cool, or it's like it's not what people usually do, or it's not what the experts recommend. But like if it feels good to you and it gives you that sense of relief, I think anyone and everyone should be able to kind of enjoy it, and to be able to continue doing it, no matter what.
Oh my god, that was like really insightful. Like,
thank you.
like I mean, I'm proud to say like one of my hobbies is like to sit around and watch Criminal Minds with my housemates. Like I'm proud to say that. or like
Yes.
or like literally like just like blocking off time to do that and give yourself the opportunity to like enjoy it. Like I literally block out time on my Google Calendar to watch a K-drama. Like because I want to do it and like I don't want people to bother me while I'm doing it. So just I don't know where I was going with that, but
Gosh.
sneak preview, I guess. I don't know.
You know, speaking of your hobbies, Mariah, what's your favorite dish to
Oh
cook?
no. Oh, my favorite dish? Okay, so while I was scrolling through Facebook one day, and I follow like numerous Asian ladies who cook. Like I just follow them because I can't really cook. Like I have to follow a recipe or else it's just not gonna like I can't think on the fly about like what to cook or things like that. But so there's this Asian lady who made this like ground beef bulgogi and it had like I actually had all the ingredients already, like I didn't have to go out and grab them. So I was like, okay, I'm definitely gonna make this. And I usually make it with like rice and like carrots or like broccoli. And so I make it like pretty often because it's like ground beef and it's just like a cup like a little bit of seasoning. So I meal prep for that for like a week. um I guess it's like my favorite thing to cook. I wish I could be good at cooking Filipino food. It's just hard because then I'll just compare it to like how my mom cooks it. And I'm like, it's not the same.
Yeah. I totally get that. You know, my mom is very new to Filipino cooking. She's yeah, or like Filipino food cooking. How do I put this?
Yes. Yum.
um,
Yum.
and so yeah, I don't know. She bought this cookbook, uh, and you know she's trying her best, and I like the food that she makes, but at the same time, like it's not as good as Lola's like original
Oh,
adobo. I'm sorry, mom.
oh.
She listens to this, but no, I totally get
Yeah.
that. I get what you
It's
mean.
hard. It's hard because like I asked my mom for a recipe. I'm like, Mom, can you give me the recipe for your like adobo or like for your lumpia? And she always replies back. She's like, there's no recipe. It's just a feeling, you know? I'm like,
It's just a
no, I know
feeling.
it's a feeling. Like I can't like I don't know how to feel if I put enough like soy sauce in my lumpia, you know what I mean?
Oh.
Or like so I asked, I'm like, so like, how do I document this? Because like, I want to document it for like, so I can cook it when I'm in Santa Cruz, but also like in the future, right? As like an archive for like if I do have kids or something like that. And so like, I think like I'm gonna try to make it like a hobby to like collect all of this,
Oh,
like like
nice.
videos and stuff or like things that she does. Because like I don't know if it's y'all, if this is like it with y'all's family and like Filipino food, but they start off with someone's recipe and they just like modify it to their own. And like by the point that it's like their own and like to their taste and like how I try it, like for my mom's version, it's so like hard to remember the steps that she took to like make it that way. So I just can't get her recipe.
Oh
Oh my
So I
god.
can't eat Filipino food in Santa Cruz.
my gosh.
But like I don't know, I guess like because of COVID I've been like eating more food that I make and like cooking more. If COVID wasn't a thing, I feel like I'd be getting a lot of food and trying a lot of places, like that's like my thing.
Mm.
So like has any of like the other stuff that y'all like to do or like your hobbies or stuff like that, like has that changed since like COVID happened? Because like for me it has. I don't know about y'all.
Um, yeah, for me, like much so. Like I used to, like when we were back in Santa Cruz, I used to love going out and like exercising, right? So I'd always go to like the gym. I'd always try new things. Like I'd always wake up at like 6 a.m. in the morning just to go to the gym or like
Mm.
do it in the afternoon. But because of just like COVID, I just kind of stopped going and like I guess I stopped exercising in general because I was like, I don't know, with like online schooling, it just feels like there's being more piled on. And so I really don't have much time. But I will say that it has allowed for like opportunities for other things to happen too. So like, I never really like was interested in chess, but then I started playing chess and I was like, this is pretty fun. I started like meditating a lot more. And so I guess for me it kind of transitioned more to kind of adapt to be more inside. than outside, so that I could, I guess, better adapt to COVID.
Like, I know if it was just my TikTok for you page, or if y'all are on TikTok, but it felt like everyone was like moving towards the same hobbies or interests or getting into type of stuff. So like one minute I remember like roller skating becoming like a big thing again, which I think roller skating should never have been out of trend in the first place. But yeah, like I've been noticing like because of COVID, like a lot of these trends and a lot of people have been getting into the same thing. So like roller skating, knitting, crocheting, embroidery, like things like that. I feel like it's a good opportunity because like I'm not trying to romanticize like the pandemic, like definitely not. I think it's just like it gave people the opportunity to slow down. Like being stuck at home gave people the opportunity to slow down and like learn what like other interests or hobbies that they have. I don't think that really happened to me, like personally. I think I kind of tried to do some of the things that everyone was moving like towards. It just didn't work out. Like I used to roller skate. I was like, I'm not gonna roller skate again. um, but I think like it was just like interesting to see that. And definitely like how these how we look back at this pandemic when it hopefully is over. It's like, remember when I was into this thing during the pandemic? Yeah, that was weird. Like that type of like conversation.
Oh, I think that's been like a thought for me a lot recently. It's just like, how do I want to remember like what I've been doing during the pandemic, and like
Mm.
how do I kind of use this to kind of help me make some productive changes within my life. And I will say like it's been a lot of like reflecting, because it's just like I don't want to sit here and just like remember it as just like me kind of just doing class all day. I wanted it to be more of like as a time to really just like, put my foot on the brakes a little bit, and to really kind of just think about like where I am and kind of where do I want to go, so that I can live, I guess, my days more intently. So like that's kind of opened up the gate for me to just really focus on these hobbies and interests that I have, because they're really important. Like, again, we're not just students, we're people. And people are, they're not just, again, their jobs or their work, they're like the experiences they've gone through, they're the values they hold, they're just everything. And so I think it's just really important that we have this time to really kind of think about like, oh, like what do I like to do other than just working, like let's explore that aspect of like me. Let's see where this will take me. And I feel like if you continue to to think about these things, it'll definitely help you find um outlets to express yourself, and just, I guess, ways to allow yourself to really just relax and just be you.
Yeah, I agree. Like, um, I feel like one of the things that we feel is a negative about this pandemic is like, yeah, a part of our life has been sort of cut off from ourselves, and that sort of forces us to explore new outlets and ways we can sort of express ourselves. Um, and like you said, how um, like you we have limited access to the outside, so therefore like you Shane, like you said Shane, it's hard to exercise as often or feel motivated to exercise, and just finding that motivation somewhere elsewhere like chess. I think that's really I think that's really something um special and sort of unique in a sense. And yeah, not even just finding like new things to do, maybe even like gravitating more towards another specific hobby you might have not really explored before in the past. Like for myself, that would be programming. um, as a computer science major, I do program a lot, but I guess not as often prior to the pandemic, just because I was more outside. But yeah, now that I'm inside more, I've explored more into the world of programming. Attended my first hackathon, which is really cool, And yeah, I don't know. That's
Yeah, I definitely like agree. Oh, sorry, Shane.
No. That I was just gonna say that was amazing. But continue with your thought, Mariah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like when Ethan was talking, it kind of made me realize like not only were we getting creative with like our interests and like the things that we can do during this pandemic, but I want to say like our programming has gotten like the same level too. Like I don't know if we were in person, if this podcast would be a thing, but because of us like being like at home and having to spend time like I don't know, I think like after what Ethan was saying, it kind of helped me realize like not only do our hobbies have to change a little bit, but also kind of like the programming that we put out there. I think like a good example of that is like this podcast. Like I don't know if this podcast would be a thing if we were in person, right? I don't know like if we'd be able to have the time to like sit down and do this. And like looking back at it now too, I think like maybe this is becoming a new like hobby of mine is to like record this because as Shane and Ethan were both saying like being able to do things or talk about things that you want to talk about or like you want to say like isn't this what this podcast is like doing for us, right?
yeah.
So like definitely
Yes.
think this could be
Yes.
like a hobby or something. I don't know. Like the rest of the quarter you'll just hear us talk and that will be the rest of our hobby and yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And I will say like you mentioned, and I'm not sure if this is gonna like kind of lead us toward the end. But I want to like bring up how Mariah talked about how with COVID happening, and us adapting our hobbies, like it does require a level of us also adapting with like kind of balancing how much work we do with like how much like personal life things that we do. And so I was just like kind of like wanted to kind of bring up like how have y'all kind of been balancing, your like, work a lot. How have you had like a how have you been balancing your work and like your own personal lives? Like what have y'all been doing? Like what are some new techniques that you've been doing? Because when you do new hobbies, it kind of changes the weight as to how much time you spend on, work and, your personal life.
So I personally just I like having a routine every day. I think that really helps. Just I feel like having a routine, um, it's sort of like a latch that you can really like hang on during like this pandemic because it just gives you something to do, like every sort of moment of the day. And yeah, I have a Google Calendar as well, that's filled with both filled with tasks that I have to fulfill, like finishing homework at a specific time or attending a Zoom lecture, but also specific breaks within the day as well, like having a specific hour dedicated to like I don't know watching anime or another hour just having like as a having another like 15 minutes of the day just having a short nap. And so yeah, I don't know, just having a routine every day really helps for me. um,
Oh yeah, I like the idea of like having a routine because it gives you that sense of like stability that like I think a lot of us need in our lives because it gets really like I don't want to say it like annoying, but it gets a little like uncomfortable when like every day like you're like there's a new thing that's happening and like you don't really have like a schedule. It's like you're living every day like randomly and like there's just no like there's nothing like stable or concrete that's happening. I think definitely like having a routine is super useful. I mean, I also have my own routine too, Ethan. Like that's it's like
yeah.
it's helped me like just it's kind of it helps me get my day started and it helps me like end my day in a really positive note. So yeah.
No, I wanted
Right.
to, yeah.
Oh, sorry, you can go.
I just wanted to mention too, like, because we also us three Camcos shared Google Calendar with each other, and whenever I look at Shane's calendar, I'm like, wow, this is like,
Yeah, Shane's super detailed
I know.
with your
It's
calendar.
like so thorough. Like, wow, playing chess at this hour. I'm like, oh my gosh, I better not disturb him during this time.
Yeah. I guess I'm kind of like the same as y'all. Like I do like a routine. Um and so because of like how many meetings I have to take for like CYP and then like my job outside of this whole thing and like making time for myself to study, like I've really started blocking out like time blocks, like even if they're just an hour, because a lot of people have been using like us being just meeting through Zoom as like an advantage to like schedule like the smallest meetings within like the smallest time blocks, like
Yeah.
in between like
Yeah.
my classes and stuff. And I'm
Mhm.
like, please, like, do not do this. Like, if I barely have like an hour in between like one meeting to the next or like a class to a meeting, like those time blocks in between those things are what gets me through the day.
Yeah.
And so I've been trying to block those times off, and I just put like do not disturb.
Mm.
Like do not disturb. Like on my calendar, I have one day if I have to continue doing this, but like I just have a giant block for like 4 hours. It says like do not bother me like out of office, because if I didn't put that, people will try to like take that time that I have for myself for like a meeting or like something like that, which I just like do not have the time to do, right?
Yeah.
So that's like what I've been doing. It's been working so far. I had to schedule a couple of meetings like um with my boss. And I just like need those times like to eat, to like just sit on the couch, like things like that. So that's kind of been like a common practice I've been using.
Yeah, no, speaking of like routines and all, I also want to like for like anyone listening, I also want to like emphasize, that you don't have like the like in terms of like a routine, you don't really need it to be like a solid like this is what your day is gonna do like exactly. Like it's good to have some like flexibility because so many things can like change, right? And I feel like
Yeah.
if you have a
Yeah.
really concrete schedule of what you're gonna do at exactly this time, and like something minor happens, like it could like throw you off completely, and it's gonna make like adapting your schedule super difficult. And so I just want to really like emphasize that because it's just like, living your day concrete, like it's good and all, but like it's like it kind of prevents flexibility from occurring from or like it prevents you like that flexibility that you may need at a later point. But also another thing that I wanted to mention is that like, setting limits for yourself are also so important. Mariah touched on it, and I think it's just so important just having these blocked out times. Like I know for us, like when we're like coordinating times to meet, in our camp meetings, we're always like I think we have this like this rule between like us where it's just like your weekend is like all for you. Like you should spend your
Mm-hmm.
weekend for you because there's just like you just have other things going on in your life, and like just those kinds of limits really kind of help you really help you manage and balance your time because it's kind of time that you kind of need to take care of yourself, and there's also time where you need to just work. So just having those limits. Another limit that I also enjoy that we like have is like we're not gonna we tend to try to like not schedule meetings after 7 to 10 because that's just like our off time, and that's time we need to just relax from the day. So like
Yeah.
I really want to emphasize just like setting limits for yourself so that you could respect your time, and so that you could also have time to take care of yourself, right? Which is super important, and also have time to really work on, things like school and work. So
Yeah. I think that's a very good point, Shane, and I'm happy you mentioned that.
Yeah.
I think it's like a great point to just like end. Like take care of yourself, make time for yourself, do things you want to do. Like hopefully that's what y'all will take away from listening to this.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much for listening. Hopefully, this week's podcast has helped you reflect on the things that you like to do, your hobbies, interests, just how you spend your time outside of being a student and then also a student leader. Hopefully, you're listening to this podcast while you're doing something that you like to do, like maybe you're crafting right now or like, I don't know, folding laundry, something like that. But just remember to take care of yourself, make time for yourself so that you can do the things that you enjoy, and hopefully, um, you're staying safe and healthy.
Yeah.
So please keep an eye out for our next podcast, as well as the events that camp will be hosting throughout the rest of this quarter. So please keep an eye out on our Instagram, Facebook. Our Instagram is kamp.ucsc, and then our Facebook is just Queer Active Mentorship Program. So we hope you enjoy this week's episode, and we will see you next podcast.
And don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Bye-bye.
Bye, y'all.